Welcome to Life with Bridget, conversations that inspire. I am your host, Bridget, and I'm absolutely excited to welcome you to the very first podcast of 2025. Yay! So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay on YouTube, thank you for joining us at the start of this new year. We're kicking things off with a conversation that's sure to set the tone for the year ahead. I am excited. I don't know about you. So Life with Bridget is all about sharing stories that spark growth, action, and change through inspiring conversations, expert insights, and practical advice. We aim to help you navigate life, career, and personal milestone. Today's topic, as you all know, or as you have seen on the flyer, is first-time home buyer essentials and what you need to know before taking the leap. If you're considering buying your first home or just curious about the progress, this episode is surely for you. As we step into 2025, what's the better time to gain the knowledge and confidence to make one of life's biggest decisions, home ownership? Expect an insightful, engaging, and informative conversations that will leave you with actionable tips and answers to your questions. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Life with Bridget, and stay connected with us on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to stay updated on all of our latest episodes. So now let's dive in and kick off 2025 with a conversation that truly inspires and empowers you. Well, as you can see, he has been smiling and blushing, if I may add. We're joined by Mr. William Tarr. Yay! This is me giving an applause. Most of you know him. He's a brand-hold name. So Mr. William Tarr is a trusted realtor in the greater St. John area with over 6 years of experience, specializing in helping newcomers find their dream homes. Mr. Tarr will guide us through the key steps, common mistakes to avoid, and practical tips every first-time home buyer should know. Also, if you would want to stay informed as well, that's why we have him here. I literally stole him today. So more on his bio. He's originally from Liberia. He moved to St. John with his family in 2011 actually, and quickly fell in love with the community, drawing from his own experience as a newcomer. William has built a career centered on making the home buying process as smooth and enjoyable as possible. Before real estate, he worked in newcomer settlement services, helping families establish their roots in St. John. His unique perspective, combined with a master's degree in regional development planning and management, equips him to guide you through every step with confidence and special care. His passion and dedication have not gone unnoticed. He's a proud recipient of numerous accolades, including the Royal LePage Award of Excellence. But beyond the words, it's his clients' trust and loyalty that truly sets him apart from others. They know William isn't just their realtor during the transactions. He's someone that truly cares, because you can rely on him on the long run on all his dealings. You know him with a deep understanding of the local market and a heart for helping others. He's a goal-oriented person, and he ensures that every client of his has a remarkable experience, whether buying or selling. His warm approach, style, and commitment to excellence makes the journey enjoyable and stress-free. Outside of work, you find William immersed in the St. John community, connecting with neighbors and contributing to the vibrant, welcoming spirit of the area. If you're looking and ready to take the next step in your home ownership, here's the man, the trusted man. So, Mr. William, you're welcome once more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for showing up. It means a whole lot. And P.S. He has a really high sense of humor. I told Mr. William to please show up before 3 p.m. And I'm like, okay, 15 more minutes. Where is he? And I called and he goes, oh, I'm doing African time. I'm like, what do you mean African time? He goes, I'll be there at 3:30. I'm like, hey, this is not African party. This is a live podcast. You have to be here at 3. And he said, well, I'm just outside. And in the meantime, he was in the house. So please help me welcome William Tarr once more again. Thank you for showing up. I know you have this beautiful bio of all your activities, hobbies, and the passion that has drawn you to the community and also others. Is there anything that I've missed or something you want people to know?
I think it mentioned, first let me say thank you for inviting me, and I'm so honored to be your first guest in 2025. I can just imagine this would be a great year for you and everything you're doing.
Okay.
I think you said almost everything about me. That a lot of people already know me in town. It's just that I want to emphasize that I now live in Quispamsis with my wife and three daughters.
Beautiful daughters.
So yeah,
specific.
beautiful daughters. So when I'm not doing real estate, I'm driving them around for activities, and I'm also very active in my local church. I go to Forest Hills Baptist Church. So that's like cover everything about me. Yeah.
Okay, so without wasting time, for our viewers who have taken out their time this Saturday, instead of doing something better, they decided to show up, just support this, this community. Thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, before we start, throwing the ball and questioning him, with all the heart of questions, I would want to say that this is a learning opportunity for me. I don't know about you, but I believe that 2025 should be for you. You will never catch me without a jotter, never, and a pen, never. Every opportunity I see, I grab it. I do. And any moment to learn, I always step into that position. So now I'm going to ask you, so how did you venture into the real estate business?
So yeah, as you mentioned, I used to work at the Newcomer Center, and I used to help newcomers, especially people coming on the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. So as part of my job, I was doing orientation, and I really used to love helping people. And the question of home ownership kept coming up. People kept asking me, how can I buy a house? How can I buy a house? And then I have just bought my first home in St. John. So I had ideas on the process, and then I went to do a research, and I thought it was a great opportunity to help newcomers in another way, because I'm passionate about helping people. So I took advantage of that opportunity, and I went into real estate, and it has been a very fun experience so far.
If there's anything, not just to make him feel, like all swollen, he's passionate about what he does, like really passionate. We have been on his neck. Sometimes I feel sorry for him. I truly feel sorry for him. I do, but he's got a passion, and he puts in 110% into it. Okay, that's interesting. You saw an opportunity, and then you decided to jump at it. It's a beautiful opportunity. So what are the key steps a first home buyer should take before starting their search?
One of the things first home buyers will not take seriously, and I want to emphasize on it, is the first thing is to make that decision to buy to make that decision to buy a house. You need to decide that you want to own a house, and there's a lot of things that come into that decision. Will be location, size of house, what you really need in a house. So once you make that decision, and in fact you want to decide, if you are in St. John, do you want to stay in St. John at least for the next 5 years? Have you made up your mind that this is going to be where you want to stay, or which community you like to stay? The next thing is to get pre-approved. It's very, very important. I'm going to mention this a lot of time in this discussion, to get pre-approved. Why do you need to get pre-approved? First, because it gives you the idea on your limit. Like, this is the maximum you can buy a house for. So because sometimes we feel like we want a house of 500, but then we are only approved for say 300. Or sometimes you may be looking for 300, but you can get up to 700. So it's just good for you to get pre-approved, especially in this market. I cannot overemphasize that. You need to get pre-approved. The next one is to call me. So after you decide, after you decide you want to buy a house, after you get pre-approved, then you call William. On a serious note, you get a realtor. You need to get a realtor. So you get pre-approved, and then you get a realtor and start the journey.
You've heard that. Get a realtor, get William Tarr, the trusted William Tarr. But I would want to add that not just any realtor. Get those that are passionate about the job. Those that are looking to also build a relationship with their clients. That way they get to understand their clients and their needs. Also a knowledgeable realtor, truly knowledgeable. Because when they do not have adequate knowledge of the market, how do you expect them to support you? Nope. Okay, I hope you've all heard that. Now, in all of this realtor whole deal, what are the most common mistakes you have seen in your experience about first-time home buyers? Like, what mistakes do they make, and how can people avoid those mistakes?
One of the big mistakes first-time home buyers make is it's all about the budgeting. It's how to set a budget on how much do you want to pay for a house, and this will help with your initial decision that we want to buy a house within the budget. And I will advise you put it in the price range. We need something between 300 to 400 and work within that range, because there are a lot of other expenses that you may not know. If you buy a very expensive house, it will cost you a lot.
What kind of expenses are you
So we're
about?
talking about once you get the house, based on the price of the house, it will also reflect on your property tax. You have to maintain the house when things break. You will have to pay home insurance. You will have to pay, and especially if you're moving from a rental property where you're not paying property tax, you are not paying water and sewer, all those things come up. And even it's most likely that your electricity bill will go up because now you have a bigger property. So you have to consider that. Another thing is emotion. Sometimes I have experience where you may see a house and you fall in love with it and you really want it. But the question is, does this house really suit my need? Let me give you an example. You are a family of 4, a spouse and 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and you love a house but it's only 2 bedrooms. And your realtor is saying this is not for you, and you're like, we can manage it. I love this house too much. You cannot bring emotions into that. So those are some of the mistakes first-time home buyers make. So that's why your initial planning is very, very important.
You have heard him. Very important not to attach sentimental attachment to the whole thing because you really want a house, but to look at all the the narratives, what it fits. If you have 4 kids, of course, you know what you should be looking at and settling for. So that takes me to my next question: and searching for the perfect home. How can buyers narrow down their search to find a home that fits their needs and lifestyle?
So we're talking mainly, I mainly work within the greater St. John region, and our market is very, very unique now. We don't have a lot of houses on the market. So even though you have made your plan, sometimes you have to be very flexible. So if you want to narrow down, there are some things you say it should be a must-have. Like, I'm looking at St. John, I'm looking on the west side, it should be the west side. I'm looking at a 3-bedroom, 3+ bedroom, 2-bathroom. You stick to you give yourself some parameters that you should work with, but you cannot be looking, and also within the price range. So once you start looking at all over St. John, you're looking at west side, Quispamsis, east side, you're looking at a house for 600,000, another one for 200,000, a townhouse, a semi-detached, a condo. like you get really confused. So you should try to narrow yourself. But even with that, you need to be flexible. So if you are looking at Milledgeville, for example, and there's a house on the east side that just check all the boxes apart from Milledgeville, sometimes you have to consider that. But then it's also important if the kids and children are very important in this, especially with the school.
Yeah.
If the children have already built relationship in the schools, have friends in the schools in Milledgeville because they have been there for the last 2-3 years, sometimes it's difficult for the children when you move them into another school area.
But you know, when it comes to lifestyle, I know people that say that they don't live in Milledgeville. That's it. It has to be Milledgeville because they just feel that's where the lifestyle, you know, like people live in. I know outside Quest Palms and Rothsay. So what would you say in that direction?
Lifestyle, St. John is a small place. Like we live in a small place. I tell people, for example, how many times do we really come out to entertain? We just have limited time during the summer. But if Milledgeville is it's because of the lifestyle, sometimes it's closer to town. Sometimes people look at the schools, the hospital, others, and it depends on the buyer, and their lifestyle for sure. But it also have to go with your budget. Like I usually tell people, and I make this joke. Some of my clients will like they want this, they want that, but their budget is low. So I say, like, you have an appetite for champagne, but your budget can only buy you beer.
You gotta drink a bottle of beer.
So you should stick. It's all about your budget.
Yeah. So I have a question from the chat here. Thanks everyone that's joining. Thank you. This means a lot. I appreciate your support. So there's a question for you here.
Yeah.
This is from Atin Basi. I am not a first-time home buyer, but my question is, what is the best time someone should look at getting a new home, especially with the bidding war? It's a beautiful question. Thank you.
The best time for getting a new home is now. There is no better time than now.
When you mean now, do you mean like the season?
I mean
like
today? I mean in the present.
Okay.
Like I could say the same thing in July or in August. The best time is now because our market is not a normal market. So you have to enter the market immediately. You cannot wait for a perfect time. So right now, like during the winter, there are fewer houses on the market. Even when the market was okay, there are fewer houses on the market. So you don't have a lot to choose from. But then there are also fewer buyers on the market because a lot of people don't want to get in the market during the winter. So it's also an advantage for you. It's just, I mean, it's a cold January morning. You don't want to go out and start looking at houses. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that.
I see.
So you can start the process now. It's an advantage for you because you don't have a lot of competition. But then you don't have a lot to choose from. Then we come to spring where the start of the season when all the houses start coming on the market during the spring, during the summer. That's the time it's very, very busy. So right now, if you enter the market, you'll be competing with people that tried buying last year that they didn't find and still looking. But like I said, we don't even have houses on the market right now. So it's just good for you to get ready and start looking. And most of the time mistake first time home buyers make is to set deadlines. Like, I need to get a house before Christmas.
I had that timeline.
Yeah.
I did, and you know
I need
that.
to get a house before Christmas. And sometimes it's very, very frustrating. I think you just need to go into the process and find a house that suits your needs.
Yeah. So there's another question here that got me really smiling while you were speaking. So this is from Junior. He says, the question goes like this. What's the highest commission you have made on a single deal? Is this something you're comfortable answering here? Yeah. Okay, cool.
I don't know how this will help. I don't know how this will help a first-time home buyer. But like I tell people, and this is one of the lies I tell people, I'm not in this for the money. So I don't. I can't remember exactly, but the highest house I have sold is around 850,000. Standard commission is 2.5%. Sometimes it could be 2%. And then because you work for a company, so you are in a split with the company.
And that same 2%?
Yeah. So you are in a so let me give you an example, a simple example. So if you are selling a house for 100,000 and the commission is 2.5%, that's 2,500. So if you are in a company, it depends on your split with a company.
And that same 2.5.
It could be it could be a 80-20 split or a 60-40 split, depends on the company. So you can easily walk away with 2,000 there. But I have made numerous times. I have had commission over 14,000.
Okay, that's interesting. Wow. So this could be for those that are looking to go into the realtor business. That's it. So there's no like clear cut. This is it. It depends if you're.
It's not it. I tell people last year my first commission was in April. The first commission I made was in April, and it was $2,000.
Interesting. Okay. So what should first-time home buyers know about evaluating neighborhoods and local amenities that are available?
You should do your research. It's easy, especially if you have lived in the community before. You should do your research. If you go into a new community, it's just good to look at prices in that area. What are the other houses look like? Is it an owner-occupied house? Or are you buying a house in a location where all the other houses are all rental property? How do people in that neighborhood take care of the properties? Do you have children? What is the school in the neighborhood? What is the review of the school? Is there traffic? Is there going to be working on the bridge during the summer and there will always be traffic going there? Yeah. So it depends what you want. Are you a single person in your lifestyle? You are all uptown. You want to live in the city center. So it's different. I think now with the internet, you can easily do your research and find information about neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay, so Gino, thank you. I hope that answered your questions. Okay, Mr. Tarr, there are lots of questions here. Okay, and well, I wouldn't know, but I'm just gonna read out your question all the same. The question said, which is better, cybersecurity or realtor?
I don't know about cybersecurity. I haven't had a cybersecurity check before, but real estate is all about. The good thing about real estate is the relationship. Most of my real good friends in St. John are people that I work with. I sold house to them, and today we are still friends. You help people. What brings me pride is me seeing people talking about the house and how happy they are that I helped them and how I was part of the journey. This is something that you part of people's life. When we first moved to Canada, or when I first bought my home, this was the person I worked with. So I will always be part of the story. Now, cybersecurity, I don't know whose story you're going to be part of. It's not about relationship. It's just, about money. So I think if you're somebody, and it's not everything for everybody, if you're somebody that good with people, you're a people person, you like to develop relationship, then real estate is a thing. If you're somebody that you want to sit somewhere and be playing with numbers, then it's not for you.
So I would want to add a little, as a human resource professional, when it comes to comparing to, job, description, it's best for you to decide what you're passionate about. I have this notion that was being debunked when you say, oh, well, it's all about the money. Well, I'm looking for where I'm going to be paid higher. But then we all have bills to pay. So it's left for you to decide, do you want to do the cybersecurities? Because, and then now again, the market is getting saturated. Because a lot of people are trooping into the cybersecurity space. A lot of people. So that boils down to doing your research, like he mentioned earlier. Do your research and find out what works best for you. But then again, there's no rule that says you must settle down for just one passion or one job. If you feel you can navigate to multiple, sure, it all boils down to how much time, energy, and resources you're willing to invest in this. So I hope that answers that. Before we get to the next question, we'll just dive into, the question we have for Mr. William Tarr. I'm coming to your question, okay? In just a moment. So how is it important to have a realtor when searching for your first home? I remember people say, well, just go online and then you'll be fine. Try to connect with the home sellers themselves. And I'm like, how then do you know that the people that are selling?
So in Canada, more than 99 or 98% of the homes are sold. People list the houses, and once the house is listed, you either go to your realtor as a buyer realtor, or you go directly to the listing agent. Okay. Regardless of whether you're going with the buyer or you're going with the listing agent, you need a realtor. And the good thing about using a realtor as a buyer, you're not paying them. Especially in St. John, you're paying them indirectly because their commission is built into the price you're paying for the house. Okay. But there are other areas where the realtors will sign an agreement with you that you will have to pay me. Yeah. But in this case, you're not paying a realtor. So why not use a realtor that has experience and expert and all those things, and you don't pay them? And the realtors are there. You can get realtors by referral. I always, in this business, referral is very important. So your friend has just bought a house. Your friends can refer the realtor. A colleague at work can refer a realtor. Or you can go online and look at reviews. The realtors are all over. But it's a relationship kind of business. So you can't just take John Brown from somewhere and work with the person. You have to know who you're working with.
Well, I hope you've heard that. So that brings me to navigating the buying process. I'm going to get back to your questions just a moment. So what does the typical home buying process look like from start to finish? I know it's a whole process.
It's a long process, and when I meet with my clients, I tell them that it's a very stressful process. It's stressful for everybody. It's stressful for the realtor. It's stressful for the seller. It's stressful for everybody in the process. So the whole home buying process will first start with that decision you make that it's time to buy a house. So once you make that decision, then you get pre-approved, you find a realtor, and then the realtor will start showing you houses. So our advice, I like to work with clients that are also very knowledgeable about the market, that goes online and kind of like understand how the market, the current situation of the market. Because like you will get to know that houses are now selling for $350. So your expectation is around that process. So once you get a realtor, he starts showing you houses and you finally see the one you like, you make an offer. Because now there will be things like multiple offers. So when a realtor tells you have multiple offers, there are more than one people presenting an offer for that property. So most of the time, the seller is most likely to take the highest offer. And then once the offer is accepted, it's time for you to get your financing. You will reach out to your mortgage specialist to get the mortgage. Then we come up to closing costs. So there's a whole lot of things involving in closing. You need a lawyer to close the deal. You cannot just close on your own. So you need a lawyer to close the deal. So once the deal is closed, and in that process, you have to do inspection of the property. Yeah. So you do an inspection.
At what point in time do you do the inspection?
I always advise my clients to do inspection before making a deposit on the property. So most properties, you need to do a 5% deposit. So you do an inspection on the property before, and if you are okay with the inspection, then you make a deposit and you close. You decide on the closing date when you first making an offer, and then what happened on closing day, your real estate agent gave you a keys. Some people want to take picture by the house. Most of my clients will tell me, William, please don't take my picture. So I just put my sold sign on the picture of the house and say sold.
Okay. Well, what would you say works better?
For privacy, it's not. You don't. Some people. Yeah. It depends on the culture. I've had clients from Asia that will tell me, but William, you didn't take our pictures. You didn't post our pictures on Facebook. Where I will have clients from Africa that will say, do not post my picture on Facebook.
I wouldn't want my picture there because I just bought a house now.
Yeah, but sometimes it's more of the whole thing about the sold and the social media thing. It's more about marketing for the realtor. Like and you want to post, you want to post something. You want to post something on social media. Like coming up with something to post is difficult. So once you sell a house, you want to post.
Yeah. I know that the realtors have different strategies that work for them.
Yeah.
So I was watching. I know now the game is crazy. So I know I follow quite a number of them on the social media space. Yeah. I know one what's her name? I can't remember her name. So when she sells a house, she goes and does it kind of thing, and I'm like, this is crazy. But then again, it's still a marketing strategy that whatever works for anybody, it's their thing that works for them. It's interesting. It's actually it's a long process.
It's a long
really
process.
Long process.
Yeah. And it can be stressful. The whole process can be stressful. Either the financing will not go through, it will delay. Or you do inspection and you're so much attached to the house and there's a lot of things that come up in the inspection.
Yeah.
Or you want to change your closing date. Or the seller is saying we cannot close this date. There's a lot of things that can be stressful. Yeah.
Points. And the question says, also I hear some buyers are not bothered with inspection of the homes, and some sellers like some buyers. What would you advise?
So we're in a very competitive market now. There are some times you submit an offers, and on one property you have 15 different offers, and it's very competitive. So it's most likely that the seller will go for the highest offer without inspection.
But why can't they just be fair and just go with who pays first or something, or who bids in first? Come on.
All the offers are submitted at the same time.
Okay.
And sometimes take it the other way around. You are selling your property. You want the best. I have worked with sellers before, and on our listing agreement, the seller told me they wanted $300,000 for the house.
Oh wow!
And we listed it for $285,000, and then we got $350,000. Yeah. So it's the buyers, because they know they are in competition.
Yeah.
And why buyers will make that decision? Because we just missed another house, the same house we just offered $330,000, and we missed that house, and we've been on the market for 6 months now. We are not missing this one. So, but inspection is very, very important.
Are there instances where after inspection there are issues and then you still go back to negotiate?
Yeah.
Or people just close it?
So after inspection, the thing about inspection, now listen, when you what I will advise first time home buyer, there is something we call property disclosure statement.
Okay.
So before you go to look at the property, ask your realtor for the disclosure statement. In that statement, it will tell you most of the conditions of the house. It will tell you how old is the roof, what is the when was the last electrical update, what is the electrical panel, is there any structure problem. Most home seller will mention all those things. But if you don't see those things and you go and see the house, so I go and look at this house and I see the roof is old. Your realtor tell you, oh, this roof look like it's 20 years old. You come and do the inspection, and the inspector tell you the roof is 20 years old. It's not fair to go to the seller and say, change your roof.
No.
Because you came and you saw it like that. So most of the time, things that you see and you still want to buy the house, there's a crack in the foundation. You saw the crack in the foundation, you want to buy the house. The guy is not changing it. And another conflict sometimes, like St. John, we have a lot of old houses. Really the house was built in 1980. All those things were the standard code. When the inspector is doing the inspection today, he will use the building code for today. So for example, you're supposed to have a GFI plug by the kitchen. But then in the 80s, it was not installed. And your inspector say you need a GFI plug. You cannot tell the guy to change his plug because it's working for him. Or the electrical panel is fused, it's not broken. we go to look at the house and you see the fuse and you do inspection and the guy like, oh, your insurance will be high because of this. You cannot come back and say change it. However, there are some things that you will not see during the process. You didn't go in the attic to see it, or you didn't look at the wiring and it's not good. So in that case, you can go back to the seller, and these are what you can request. I want you to replace this, or I want you to reduce the price, or I want you to give me money back when we close the deal. Give me $1,000 and I'll fix it, or I want you to pay a contractor to fix this and give me the receipt. On the seller part, the seller can say, no, go to hell, I will sell my house to another person. Or the seller can say, okay, I will do it, or they can negotiate.
Okay. Yeah. So has there been an instance where someone goes, I don't like the roof, like probably because it's been old. So you, as their realtor, a trusted person, what advice do you give them? So
those are the kind of things that's very important when you go to show a house, the realtor. So we first start from outside. And my style of showing houses, and I know in the community people say William will discourage you from buying. My style of showing houses is to point out to the problems. I said, look, this roof is supposed to be for 25 years. Yeah. It looks like it's 18 years old. But do you know what? To change this roof is not expensive. It will cost you around $7,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we come in and I look at I have done hundreds of inspection, so I know definitely what inspector will look at. So I bring it to your attention. Now, it's frustrating that after inspection, if the same issue come up and you say, William, we want them to change the roof. There have been some cases if the person really want to sell, like the house is $200,000, you are offering $250,000, but you're telling them, look, the roof is not good, we'll not buy the house. Some seller can negotiate because, I mean, you already paying $50,000 above.
Sure.
They will come down and say, okay, we will change the roof. Yeah. So we have had cases like that. But right now, most seller, especially if there's a backup offer. A backup offer is where your offer is accepted, but the seller took another offer just in case your offer falls through.
Why would you think that?
Things can happen because your offer is always a conditional offer that I will get financing, I will get down payment, and all those things. So sellers now will always take a backup offer. So as soon as your deal falls through, they go to the backup offer. And there are some cases where the backup offer is even higher than the accepted offer. So in that case, the seller is not wasting his time. As soon as you say, oh, the inspection, I have 12 things that I want for you to repair, the seller said no. And there have been cases where your inspector would say, this is not working. The seller would take a professional company to go and look at it and come back to you and say, this is working. So I don't know why the inspector say it's not working. So those are the kind of things that can happen.
Yeah.
But inspection is very good. I will recommend inspection on our property.
So that skips my next question because I was going to ask about negotiation and a fair deal, but that settles that for me. So I'm just going to quickly go to the chat, and I see from Lighton, the CEO of 7 Lorett's Immigration. Hi, we see you. So William, she says, am I still your friend, William? Are we still friends? Or are you still my mentor or friend or what? Great job, William. You have been an amazing person to a lot of us, real estate or not. Kudos. And she says, excellent gig, Bridget. Thank you, my madam, as I call her. Now there's a question there again for you, William. Do you see the price of market falling down anytime soon?
So first, before I answer that question, I will go back to, and I think I'm the only one that call a light on Rosalie. I'll go back to Rosalie and say, you are not a friend, you are like a sister to me. And like at times, families, we don't talk for some time, but I still have you in mind. It's very difficult to predict price.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to predict the price. Sometimes those that follow me on WhatsApp, when houses are sold, you see that I post the price of those houses, because when I post those things, it's because I have talked to somebody and they didn't believe that the house would sell this price. I remember 3 years ago, I was telling people, and I will give an example of houses in townhouses. They used to be for 165, and I was telling people those prices were too high because before COVID they were like 90,000. And today those houses are selling for 220, between 220 to 230,000. Now, for those of our friends who are economists and looking at the bigger picture, I think our prices are already there. It's way up there, and especially it was driven because of immigration and population growth. With the upcoming election and everything that going with our neighbors, we don't know if we become member of the guys down south. That's another
don't talk about that,
whole
please.
discussion. But all those things with tariff and everything, it's going to affect our market. It's really going to, the market is not, it's going to affect it, because if the kind of people that come in, let's look at, I like to use the MBA programming at UNB for example. When I started real estate, there was about 60 students coming on our program. When they graduate, after a year, about 30 of them will buy houses. Now we have over 200 people coming on our program, and all of that, more than half of them looking for houses after they buy. And we're not building that amount of houses like that. So before, my clients, we used to negotiate below, but I have cases where I would tell clients for us to offer 50,000 above the listed price, and they would tell me, William, let's do 75 above.
Crazy.
Because we have been missing like 50-50, so they want to go high.
So now I would say it's not just the sellers, the buyers are also contributing to this bidding war as well. So it's an all angle.
Yeah, it's the seller just gave the price, because if I have two houses on the same street and my neighbor has sold for 350,000, mine will sell for 350,000. So I go. And then when I list it for 350,000, somebody will pay 365. The next guy down the street will sell his for 365. That's what's been happening.
Crazy. So I'm going to there's a question here that aligns with the next two questions. So to William, what are some hidden costs of home ownership that first time buyers they might overlook?
I think the owning a house is very expensive. It's very expensive. Now, it's your own space, so you want to make it the best. And I will give you an example. Most of the time when people buy a house, they're buying brand new furniture. That was not part of the discussion. That can easily go into 15,000. They want to change most of the lights. They want to paint, but those are like the initial cost. Then the monthly maintenance, things that will happen, is very expensive now to get contractors. So if your sink was leaking and you go online to call a plumber, it's at least $70 per hour, and you will pay for 2 hours.
What 17 or 70?
70.
Okay, Junior, let's go learn plumbing.
And that is
Junior, let's
some
go
of the
learn
guys
plumbing.
are now charging $100 or
what?
so.
Junior, next available class we're hopping on.
Yeah. So that's it. So the regular maintenance is high. Another thing that you should know would be your property tax. And if you are renting right now, you're not paying for water. And so in St. John, you have to pay for water and sewer and all those things. So those are some of the costs that you will not know when you own house. And then your electricity bill will definitely go up. Yeah.
Wow. That's it. Well, owning a home, it's not it's not easy. It's an expensive journey.
It's expensive, but sometimes I look at some of my clients, like people bought house from me maybe in 2001, bought it for 200,000, and now the house is valued 350,000 or 400,000. That's when you see, this was a right decision I made, because the prices of houses keep going up. So anybody that bought a house will say, I made a very good decision.
That's crazy. Well, so I was going to ask about investment. How can new homeowners protect their investment and plan for future maintenance? I know you've spoken about the contractors and how expensive it is, and even if they're available, they are not, because they are they're booked. I remember looking for a carpenter for my friend that wanted to have some stuff done. We got 3-4 people. One said, well, it's got to be in early 2025. This was like in May last year. I'm like, wait. He didn't even say, okay, let's look at weekend. He was like, no. I'm like, what? So it's crazy out there. So what would you talk about how homeowners can protect their investment and also plan for future maintenance?
First, for that you don't have an option because we all need insurance. So in the bigger picture, the investment is protected because we have insurance. But then maintaining the home, like especially when it comes to a water leak, as soon as you see any water leak, whether the kitchen faucet, the bathroom, or anything, water destroys these kind of houses.
It does.
So as soon as you see any water leak, it's good for you to call someone, and it's good for you to establish relationship with a handy person once you are a homeowner. And sometimes it's good to also try to fix some of these things. A homeowner, you need to get the basic tools, and I know I'm so proud of some of my clients that will go to YouTube and do it yourself. I try to do some of the things myself in my own home, so it's good. But it's good to have.
Did you do it to the best of your ability, like?
I think it's best to my ability, but not to my wife's ability.
Yeah, but I saw both of you getting all handy. I'm like, whoa, I love this. It was some good,
She's the boss. I'm happy after that we are still married because it's not like sometimes we spend an hour deciding where to put what. And if one person will not agree, the other person just drop the tools and I'm done. But it's a good thing to try to fix. It's your own space to try to fix some of those things yourself. But it's good to have a handy person. Now, my experience with my clients and handy people, sometimes because of our culture, we do what they call, you want to price the person. I've had somebody, I sent a handy person somewhere, fix a job and charge the person $20, and the person say try to negotiate the price.
Please, can I just know how much? $10?
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the person. I will beat
yeah.
So the time is the value as well.
So you need to have a relationship with a handy person, and it's good to upgrade the house. Like things, you change things because it will increase the value of the property. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question here that says, what if a first-time home buyer wants to invest rather than live in the first-time home that they buy? What advice would you give for that?
I think it's to be in real estate. One of the things we say is to disclose it. I think if you go to the bank for a mortgage and you say you want to live in the home and you get a mortgage as a first-time home buyer and you rent the home, I think it's I'm not sure about this, but the bank would not be happy about it. Now, you can, because there's different...
But it's business.
Yes, but then you have to pay different percentage if it's a rental property. Now, you go into the bank and say...
Is it like a fixed percentage? Or?
Yeah. Like you go into the bank and say you're taking a home, a residential home. So I'm going to live in it. I'm a first-time home buyer. And you buy the home and you rent it. Now, you can survive on all these things, but if there is trouble, like our insurance friends, they do not want to pay.
Yeah.
So if there is trouble, they start digging and realize like, oh, there was a problem, but you are not living there in this home, supposed to be your home. So it's just good to disclose and say, look, I want to buy a house, but I will not live in it. I want to rent it.
I see. That's interesting. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So there's been lots of advice here, but I'm going to read that at the end. Yeah. So what are some tips to help your clients settle into the new home or their new communities? Do you just, after selling the house, okay, good luck guys, thanks for paying me? Like, are there advice on how they can settle it? Like, proper settling? Okay.
So most of the people I work with are people that have been in the community at least about a year, and they have the community already. But most of the time, because it's taking a while to find houses now, so we have those conversations along the way. But tips for settling, sometimes for people own security, they like to change the locks of the house as soon as they take over. It's not a requirement, but you don't know how many people have keys to the house. Right. They want to change the locks. Another thing, and that's people own decision. Sometimes we want to change everything at a go. We want to buy new living room set, new dining room set, change the whole kitchen, remove all the cabinets, buy new appliances. Sometimes those things can add ready stress on your budget. So my advice is like, look, take your time. This stove, this cooker is still good. Take your time and buy. But most of the time it's people thing. So I tell them another thing is so get the kids registered in school ahead of time. Try to know your neighbors. And even though it's your own house now, but you have to be mindful of your neighbors.
So like when you say know them, you go, hey, I'm the new member in the house here. Yay.
No, there's one day in a week that everybody will bring the garbage outside. When you bring it outside, you see the next guy, hi. They will talk to you, hi, you the new owner. It's most likely they will talk to you.
I think this relationship is better in the suburb and not in the city.
Yeah, not. If you live in the city now, it's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
Or maybe during the summer when everybody is mowing the lawns and even during the winter now when you're plowing your snow, it's good. Like go to the other neighbor if she's a senior, helping try and just build that relationship. Can I help you? Go and help. Or sometimes they will even offer to help you.
Yeah. Okay. Are there specific challenges newcomers face when buying their first home in Canada?
The thing is, the whole understanding the house is a challenge because we don't know it. These walls are made out of drywalls. We don't even know what is drywalls. We don't even know the names of the things in the house. We still call things. So you call somebody and say, "Hi, my gas is not working." What is your gas? Like you don't. So it's all new. The whole process is new because most of us used to building our own houses, get a contractor, build the houses, 4-room, 5 bathrooms and everything. Now the house has 4 rooms and 1 bathroom. So the whole process is completely new to newcomers. Yeah. So you need somebody who will just have patience to walk you through the process, knowing that, well, they don't know. And sometimes I also make that mistake. I make assumption that people will know. Especially there have been clients where closing day they told me, "William, you didn't tell me about closing costs." And I'm like, geez, I assume that everybody would know that there should be a closing cost.
So what do you mean by closing costs?
So on the day before you get your keys, there's closing costs. You need to pay a lawyer. You need to pay 1% of the cost of the property to transfer the title into your name. There's some adjustment. If the sellers have paid things all during the year and you buy the house, you have to pay back. So sometimes this cost can easily be around 6,000-7,000 depending the time of the year.
Wow.
So imagine if you have not planned.
But these are not disclosed till the client asks, right?
This like the first meeting you're supposed to mention that there will be a closing cost. The realtor will not know the closing cost. Only the lawyer would know. I can give you idea on it. Lawyer fee is $950. To transfer the property into your name is 1% of the cost of property. There will be some adjustment, I don't know. There is also title insurance around $300. So I can give you a rough estimate. And sometimes some of my clients have held me to that and said, "William, you said closing costs would be $6,000. Now it's $7,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I was just
So if you had to advise, is there like a blanket amount someone can save?
I think if you want to save to buy a house, you need to get first 5% of the cost of the house. So that's 5%. Okay. And then you save around 10,000 or 6,000 depending on the price of the house. So if you're thinking of buying a house 400,000, just 1%, 4,000 is the cost of transferring the property to your name. Wow. Lawyer would be around 900, and then there will be some other costs.
Wow. Wow. There's so much involved. Wow. Have you had clients who go, "Why I didn't know about this"?
There's been one instant where the person said, "They didn't tell me about the closing costs." Somebody, I gave them an estimate and they said, this is way over my estimate. But a lot of people are doing the research now because we have a lot of other friends that buy in houses, so people get advice from their friends, but a lot of people will know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. So what resources do you know or are aware that are available to help newcomers to navigate the home buying process?
I know Google.
Just Google, but sometimes Google tell you stories you don't even want to hear. Like Google is just
So navigate the whole
so much, and you get confused in the process.
There's especially for newcomers, when you go on the Canadian Real Estate Association website, there's a whole document about buying first homes for newcomers, and you can just, there's a lot of information good for that. Another website that's very good, I recommend it to anybody thinking about buying, is realtor.ca. So the realtor.ca will just give you idea on houses on the market. You kind of like follow houses on the market. And another one would be NBSS. So it's a New Brunswick government website. So you go there and then you enter the address of a house. Assessed. Like assessment, as in assess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you go there, you enter the address of the house, you will see what is the value of the house, what is the property tax, and you will also see houses in that area that was sold recently, how much they sold for, and other things. So this will just inform you.
Wow, so much to learn. Like, you think you know it all. No way. There's so much, like so many things that are out there that we may feel they are hidden. But then again, answer the questions you can, do your research. Like Mr. William Tarr mentioned that Google is your best friend. I disagree because Google will mislead you. But
okay, then use ChatGPT. Just go to ChatGPT and say, I live in St. John and I want to buy a house. What should I look out for? And ChatGPT will just waste everything for you.
Okay, I hope you all heard that. Okay, so how can newcomers ensure that they understand the legal and then the financial aspect of buying a home in a new country?
So for me, like even as a buyer, I also buy homes. I just trust the process. So I hire the lawyer and just trust that they will do the job. And I go to, when I get a mortgage, I trust the person will do the part of it. Especially with the legal part of it, it's just straightforward. We have a lot of real estate lawyers. So both your lawyer as the buyer and the seller lawyers will work together. So the legal part of it is most of the time straightforward. But there are some cases where, for example, you may be buying a townhouse, but there's an agreement on that townhouse that you cannot rent it out. It's owner-occupied houses. So then you will have to live in it. So once you decide to leave, you cannot rent the house, you will have to sell it. So those are some of the little kind of legal things that that can become a problem for first-time home buyers. But in the bigger picture, most of those things is just straightforward.
Well, I hope you all are hearing that and learning a lot as I am learning here. I'm taking notes. So now one question, to what we're almost rounding up. Any important advice you would like to give people that are looking to buy a house? Just any advice you feel may be useful out there.
Like I said, home buying is a very stressful process. My big advice is that why are you buying a home? Most of the time people buy a home because of the family. I would say first, if you take any professional, if you decide to work with any professional, whether a realtor, inspector, lawyer, you have to build trust for the person. And there is relationship that we talked about before. You have to build that relationship and consistency. I have seen in this industry, especially for first-time home buyer, that work with 4, 5, 6 realtors. Maybe the person that you end up doing a deal with, the person really don't have you at interest. So you just have to be mindful on, it's not just about buying a house. Well, your friends could work with 5 realtors, they bought a house and it's okay. but you could work with the same 5 realtors and there will be problem when you buy a house. So it's just good to stick with one person.
Yeah.
So if you are not working with a realtor and you are not finding a house, it's not because of your realtor, because all the realtors have access to the same houses. We all
I noticed that.
Yeah, we all have access to the same houses. We all send the same houses to our clients. At the end of the day, it's all about price.
Has there been an instance where there's a house that was sold without being in the market?
Yeah.
So how then? Is there like special realtors that do things like that?
So we call it private sale. So maybe you could go to a party and a friend would be like, I'm selling my house and I do not want to use a realtor. So you talk with the person directly. Or someone want to sell their house and do not want to put it in the market and tell the realtor, I want to sell my house privately, exclusively. But right now, if I was advising anybody selling the house, I say put it on the market.
Why?
Because you think your house, you will get $300,000 for it because you bought it $150 and you think $300,000 is a very good price. Well, the good news, somebody outside there is willing to pay you $350, but the person, you have to put it on the market to find that person. So it's just always good for the market to determine the price of the house you are buying.
Yeah. So before we close, I would want to just send our condolences to Mrs. Olaiton. Olaiton just returned back from Africa for her dad's funeral. We send our deepest wishes and prayers for you and your family at this trying times. And in this new year, it was really sad getting the news that we lost one of our sisters in the community. So it is super sad. This is someone we know, someone that I know. Adenike Alalade, may your soul rest in peace, and may God comfort your family. We can just observe 1 minute silence for the departed souls. Okay, thank you for that. So on this podcast, what I do is I always ask, is there any advice you want to give any newcomer? It doesn't have to be, related to the, real estate market. Just any advice that you tell someone that has just arrived or looking to come into Canada, or someone that just came.
I think if you are a newcomer in St. John, New Brunswick, what I would tell you is that this community, and this is for people in New Brunswick, especially St. John, this is a very small community. In every transaction you're doing with people, make sure that transaction ends well. I will give you an example why I'm saying this. So I go to a Baptist church, and there was this couple that sits right in front of me in the pew right in front of me for years. And my daughter went to kindergarten school, and we realized that daughter was my child's teacher. And then through the discussion, we also realized that our family dentist is also the son. So it's all just connected in this it's a small community. So any transaction you are doing with somebody, just close it well, because you will definitely come back again together. So just for that, and that's my advice for people that we live in a small community, and just be mindful how you interact with people.
Wow, this is a strong one. Please, let's all be careful out there. Build real relationship and be kind to people. Never burn bridges, never. Wow. So, Mr. William, thank you once more. I want to thank you. It means a lot. I just won a lottery. Yay! Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for honoring the invitation to join this podcast and for sharing all the valuable knowledge and insights that you provided today. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining today. Thank you so much for your continued support and for always showing up. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Life with Bridget, as well as on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Please connect with Mr. William. If you go to Instagram or Facebook, you'll see his handle. Follow him. You have the permission to climb his neck till he gets a house for you, because that's what I'm doing. I'm piggybacking. So thank you and enjoy your beautiful weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.